Challenge 41 filming is underway. I'm breaking down all the vet picks in detail, all the rookie picks in not so much detail, telling you who I would have called in place of some of my criticisms, and breaking down the best case formats for this group. It's the Challenge 41 instant cast reactions. Here we go. What up, my fellow challenge lovers? Welcome to The Challenge Historian, where we dive deep into all things MTV's The Challenge, past, present, or future. If it's happening in the Challenge universe, we are here to document it. I am your host, dedicated Challenge historian Jacob Hollaball. Thank you so very much for being here with me today to technically talk about the exact present of the challenge, but in some ways talk about the future. We're talking Challenge 41 instant cast reactions. We know most of the cast now that left last week and that has potentially begun actually filming and taking part in the Challenge 41. I was going to have this episode out a few days ago, but I thought we would know 100% of the cast many days ago. I said last Wednesday night on All Stars 5 recap, like, hey, this will be out in the next couple days because we almost know all the cast now. And then we're still sitting here on the following Tuesday. We don't know 100% of the cast, but we for sure know all the vet picks. We know a majority of the rookie picks, the last few rookie men that are still not 100% known. I probably won't know who they are anyways. So I decided, why keep waiting for something that I'm not going to really have commentary on? Everything I'm going to have commentary on, we already do know. So let's do it. Instant cast reaction, Challenge 41. Spoiler / non-spoiler spoiler warning. Is that what we want to call this? They did leave, about a week ago. I don't know if they've actually begun filming the real season. I don't know if there's still quarantine or kind of setup process or anything like that. But if they have, if there is out there, on the spoiler threads, the first daily, the first elimination, a purge or something, anything like that, I don't know about it. You won't be hearing about it here on this podcast. This is still a spoiler-free podcast. We are just reacting to the cast. I always look for the cast when they leave, and then we turn off, we mute all those accounts on the social medias, everything like that, and we try our damnedest to stay away from any and all actual result spoilers, which we have successfully done. So Challenge 41, All Stars 5, anything else that I guess those are the only things that I could spoil for you right now. I don't know any spoilers to spoil it for you. So as always, this is a spoiler-free zone. However, you did click on an instant cast reaction to the Challenge 41 cast. So if you count who is there to film as a spoiler, which I think it's something different, then I guess turn the podcast off. But again, you clicked on it. The title's pretty clear. You know what you're here for. That's what you're going to get. As for the agenda for how we're going to do this, we're first and foremost going to discuss the vets. I've got them in a bunch of groups based off of how I feel about their casting. Some good, some not so good. It's a mixed bag. We'll get into it. That will be fairly detailed. We will then go to the rookie cast. That won't be that detailed because I don't watch a lot of the other shows. I know a little bit about the couple Survivor folks. That's it. So we will still discuss them. I've done the briefest bit of research on some of them, and so that will be a little bit quicker. And then, because I am going to have some criticisms on both the vet and the rookie side, don't worry, I'm going to have some things I am very excited for as well. But of course, there will be some criticisms. And so if there's going to be criticisms, you might ask, who would I have called instead? I will answer that question. I will do a full segment on exactly who I would have called. It's basically a fantasy cast of Survivor 41. I keep saying, I want to say Survivor 41 because I have a tab. I'm going to close this tab. I'm going to close it right now. Survivor 41 tab. It was open. You'll understand why it was open later, but we're going to close that so that I keep saying Challenge 41 instead of Survivor 41 when it's staring me in the face. Anyways, who I would have called. And then finally, we will wrap up with best case format, since we do know the makeup, the demographic, if you will, of the cast here. We do have some ideas, some strong leanings as to where that means the format could be going, and there's some good ways it could go, and there's some bad ways it could go, and we will discuss those to wrap things up. So that's what you have to look forward to. As always, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. It really helps out. And if you want to chat about this cast, who you would have cast, or anything challenge related, DMs are open at Challenge Historian on Instagram, and comments are of course open on the YouTube channel. Even if you're just listening on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you get your podcast, you can head on over to YouTube and drop a comment there. It'll only help. It'll only, double views, double counts, all of that good stuff. So thanks as always for being here. Let's dive in, starting things off with the vets that were called back for season 41. So, with the vets returning for season 41, obviously, if you've been following the All-Stars 5 coverage, you've heard me talk multiple weeks in a row and kind of wrap my mind around the idea of like, oh, I see what they did here as far as they did this huge cast, this blowout season, or what was meant to be this huge monumental season, Challenge 40, and they knew they were going to follow it up with All-Stars 5 immediately, and they filmed in the same location, and that really influenced who was in that cast, what they were trying to do, everything else. And so that was the follow-up season, so that then Challenge 41 doesn't necessarily have to feel like the one following the big monumental round number season. Okay, so they could have done basically anything here. I don't expect, there's no real like continuation of Battle of the Eras to do. I guess they could have done it, and there's plenty more people from each era they could have picked. I don't know, but I don't expect that. I expect either brand new kind of theming or continuation of an older theme. I think, because they got to at least witness the beginning. They didn't really get to, I guess, with their pre-production and everything, they didn't know that All-Stars 5 would be quickly becoming as successful as it is. So maybe that wouldn't have had any influence at all over them going a specific route with like bringing back an old theme. But at the end of this podcast, we'll discuss what this format could look like. And I do think they hopefully had already been down the road of like, let's bring back some old stuff that worked and we know works and do it again. I'm getting way off track here. We're meant to open with the vets. They brought 16 vets in. This cast eventually looks to be 16 and 16 vets and rookies, 8 women, 8 men on the vet side. I'm going to run through them based off tiers from bad to good. And these are tiers. They're not tiers really. They are kind of tiered bad to good, but they're more so groups, because I don't need to go through all 16 of these people 100% individually when a lot of them kind of have the same thing to be said about them. So let's start with the group, 3-person group. This shouldn't be a career is what I'm calling this group. And these are the big misses that I'm over it. I can't believe that after the Challenge 40, after they did B-Fank with 39, that I thought was an inspired choice and a good idea, and the execution wasn't perfect, but I liked it a lot more than most. I thought after the Challenge 40, like, we're going to continue that. Like, B-Fank essentially is going to be continued. That's going to be the new trilogy or something. We're going to really lean in finally after long last and like develop new storylines and develop new characters and get back to like 4, 5, 6 season runs being the like prime run of challenge folks and always rotating people in. I thought we were going to go for that, that we'd made it to the big milestone, and now it was time to go through the possible pushback of restarting this thing, really being in a new era, really kind of going for, we're going to sacrifice some short term for the long term in hopes that we can create a long term. Because right now, I don't know that we have the best long term. Okay. So this first group, this shouldn't be a career is what I'm calling it, is Bananas, Anissa, and CT. There is nothing left to do. These 3 people are legends. They're icons in this world. And they've been amazing cast members for a long time. They had absolutely amazing runs in their prime within the show as far as being great cast members on this. In Bananas and CT's case, they had a couple different runs of being the absolute legends, the icons, the ones the stories revolved around and should have revolved around and were interesting to revolve around. And those days are long gone. There is nothing new that they can do. There is nothing new to say. This is just a great career and a great paycheck. And again, I've said it before, if I'm them, I say yes every time. They get paid good money this many seasons in. This is like 25th, 21st, 19th or something like crazy like that. Those are all 3 wrong, but somewhere around there seasons for these 3. So Bananas, Anissa, CT, I couldn't be more just bored of them on my screen on a flagship season. if they were with the right combo of people on an all-stars season that was more of an all-stars 1 or 2, all or older school, and kind of were fantasy casting essentially what we wish, a cast that we didn't ever get together once before, bring them back, something like that, sure. But those three, they're not needed here. They're not carrying the show the way I guess the production thinks they carry a show, and they're using up valuable dollars of the budget by them having to get paid so much more, and then us hearing that the new people don't barely get paid anything at all. Will like spread that money around a little bit better in other ways. Bananas and Anissa's CT is the first three, and I'm calling that this shouldn't be a career tier. Next one is, I'll give you one more shot, but there's an argument you should be in the this shouldn't be a career group, but I'll give you one more shot. There's a version based off most recent events where there is something left to your story in the challenge. There is some arc or interesting story to tell with these four. So Cara Maria, Derek Kaczynski, Nany, and Leroy. All four of them, you could definitely be like, they should be in the same tier as Bananas, Anissa, and CT. What's left? But all of them having done a lot of seasons, and I think Cara is probably fairly close to almost the amount of seasons Anissa is, and Leroy and Nany are, well into 15 or so, whatever seasons. But there's at least something there with Cara coming back again, kind of having had this resurgence, and, as much as it's dragged in its own right, being a focal point of a couple seasons in a row, the her and Laurel stuff, which hopefully will be fully gone here. Obviously, right before filming, there was a whole bunch of stuff a couple weeks ago with Cara's commentary and the community not liking that, and a whole bunch of politics coming into things and everything else. So maybe that'll be discussed on this season. Woohoo. Really excited for that stuff to be broken down on the show. But there's at least maybe something left there. There's maybe something with Derek, who, truly did take the time off. And if there's anyone, Derek, along with Scott and the whole Challenge Mania team, obviously do an incredible service to this franchise. And so him being there and, having had, I think, just had another child more recently, or just getting injured the way he did on Battle of the Eras, I think there could still be something compelling left there. And Nany, now single, maybe something interesting there, a post breakup storyline. And Leroy is the one I really was like, this shouldn't be a career, or the next category maybe was the correct place for Leroy, but I just like him so much that I'm putting him in I'll give you one more shot. Next group, poor choices. They could maybe be in either of the first ones, but really it's just three people that are good, and they were good cast members at different times. And I don't think that's serving the franchise in much of any way to have them on this season of 41. So poor choices, I'm saying Aviv, Derek Chavez, and Naya. Again, all three good. I was excited for Aviv to come back for season 40. There's other people who could have been in her spot, but knowing they weren't going to be there, she was someone who I thought wrongfully wasn't called back and brought back multiple times after winning her first and at the time only season for a very long time. Great to see her back on 40. She did provide something to that season, but I don't think there's a ton here to work with. I think Derek, we had the All-Stars 4. Yeah, it was All-Stars 4, right? In season 40. Both great story, and I felt like kind of the end of this nice story, underdog getting to honor, his late sister. And there was more to that story, and it was worth telling, and we saw it, and it was great, and I enjoyed it, and I just don't know that there's more there. And then Naya, similarly, I was very happy to have her back and be on a couple seasons here recently, but these three are in the category for a reason. I just don't think this is moving the franchise forward, that these are suddenly going to be like, they've had their time, and maybe they should have gotten more time when they were kind of in their challenge prime, if you will, and we've retroactively like added a little bit, and it was worthwhile and deserved, but we don't need them here on this season, if you're asking me. So they're in the poor choice group. And then to the positive side of the spectrum here, good vet picks. The three people I have in this are people that I think should be in the middle or tail end of their challenge prime. And again, I kind of referenced it, but I'll say it more plainly. the days of, era 2 essentially of the show, if you want to use their every 10 seasons as an era metric, the teens, if you will, we were in such a good spot because it was just kind of this known thing of like, you do 3 to 7 seasons. Like if you're going to do a lot of seasons, you'll do about 7. Most people come on and do 2, 3, 4. Good run, good times. We flesh out your story, you interact. A couple big people will do 6 or 7. A couple people will just be there for 1 or 2. A lot of people will be there for 3 or 4, what have you. I think that recipe works amazingly. And so when I say good vet picks, I'm thinking of people here who should kind of be somewhere in that 3 to 7th season run that should be there. Really just feel like, are the appropriate picks in a world, a fantasy cast world that's coming up, would be the right exact ones. Ashley, Theo, and Turbo. All 3 of them, I think, we got 2 champions. Theo, was it amazing on Challenge 40? No, but I still remember, like, he was great, a great cast member his first couple seasons, and then obviously had the whole eye injury and was not available for a long time, and then has been brought back and has been a little more subdued, but still giving us good stuff and still a ton of potential as a cast member, and should be right in that realm. I don't know if this will be his like 5th, 6th, somewhere around their season. Same with Turbo. I was one who was like, I don't know about Turbo ever coming back, but so far on All Stars 5, it's kind of working again. And so I'm okay with it. And they clearly know whatever the rest of the story of All Stars 5 is to bring him back in. So Ashley, Theo, and Turbo, I think, are good, solid vet picks. Really like it. Glad they're there. Olivia is next, and she is in a tier of her own that I am calling only one of them, ? Which is the only kind of like, I know Theo was on Era 4 and whatever, but like new person, debuted in the last, within Ride or Dies on, Ride or Dies, BFank, Battle of the Eras, even like Spies, Lies, Allies, Double Agents, Range, post War of the Worlds 2, basically. Like the newest actual era of the show, the USA crowd especially, like only one of them is here of the like Raven and Nerys and Horacio and Kyland and Michelle, and that, like, there was that scene at the open of Battle for a New Champion where it was like Mariah, Raven, Nerys, and Olivia all, and I think Michelle was maybe there too, but at least those first 4 were sitting there. It was like, these are the women. This is the new group of gals that is going to headline the franchise for a couple season run here, and we only have one of them here, which is very, very strange to me, but it was good. Like, I can't believe we only have one, but it's a correct pick. Olivia is a correct pick to be in the cast, certainly. And then the final 2, I'm calling the inspired and 100% correct, which is Michaela and Rogan, for very different reasons. But Michaela, on Spies, Lies, and Allies is out first, but made an impact in the 1 episode or 2 episodes, whatever it was, and was always a great pick and was always a great idea from cast. And then they brought her back, and she was fantastic on USA 2, as expected. And bringing her over to the flagship is one of my first picks. Like, if pure drafting anyone you could pick to cast on Challenge 41, she would have been very near the top of my list on the female side of like, this is who we need. This is someone who can give us a 4 or 5 season run and be one of the faces of the show and bring some people in and really entertain some people. So incredible pick. And then Rogan, who certainly could be in the good vet pick group, has been around a minute, given that he debuted briefly on Vendettas and then, came back and eventually won on War of the Worlds 2. Like Jenny that I always talk about, Rogan also was one that on Total Madness, the whole D being edited out meant that Rogan, Jenny, and D being the main storyline and the main show, stars of the show, is essentially edited out of existence, and that really hurt for him, but was an incredible cast member. I've been wanting him back, and I'm thrilled to see him back. So again, to run through all of your vets, we've got Bananas, Anissa, CT, Cara Maria, Derek, Nani, Leroy, Aviv, Derek Chavez, Naya, Ashley, Theo, Turbo, Olivia, Michaela, and Rogan. Overall, it's a very mixed bag. Obviously, I called a couple of them inspired. I put 3 of them in this shouldn't be a career. Why were they invited? Is all over the map. It doesn't, portend on its own a great future of the show, but the season is half rookies. And so there is obviously a lot of room for new stars and new stories and new arcs and everything else to be created here. And especially the way this went down, like the first couple names, it was like Anissa and Bananas were like the first two names known. And for like a day or two, we only knew a couple names. And it was like, and you know, the Ashley and Olivia and Michaela and Rogan were nowhere to be found. It was like, what is going on with the Challenge 41? So they rebounded with the later names that were said. But overall, it's a very mixed bag. That's how I feel about it. And yeah, I'm glad we got a couple picks. The Michaela and Rogan really save it for me, clearly. But yeah, that's our vets. Let's turn our attention to the rookies. For the rookie side, I will go through everyone that we know. Again, we know 8 women. We know 4 men. We are missing 4 men who I probably wouldn't know who they were. Anyways, so not that big of a deal. But when we get to who I would cast, maybe there's a shot in hell that some of the guys I would call from Survivor, the one other show that I watch, maybe they'll be the ones that end up on there. Who knows? But I'll go through each of these very quickly and just the show they're from. And a couple of them I did the briefest bit of research, just more so on the shows that they're from than anything. And apologies in advance if I mispronounce names, because I think I'm going to mispronounce a few of these names. So in semi-alphabetical order here, we've got Adrian Naylor, who is from Married at First Sight UK. I have no idea who she is. My main question going in for her will be, did she get married at first sight or not? I'm guessing most people on that show, like most dating shows, don't actually end up getting married or with the people from the shows, but you never know. So we got Adrian from Married at First Sight. Then we have Ioleka Sodade. I apologize, not saying that name correctly, more than likely. She is from Canada's Ultimate Challenge, though. And this is the one I did the most research on. And I plan on, if I can find a way to watching her season of reality television prior to watching her on the Challenge 41. She's athletic, she's hot, and the show, it turns out, is basically the Challenge, kind of. It's like the Challenge with a dash of Amazing Race. It's 4-person teams. It's kind of Road Rules, honestly. Team Road Rules. It's a mix. Road Rules, the Challenge, and Amazing Race got together, and all 3 somehow had a child together. It would be this. It's 4 teams. This is all, by the way, from the trailer that I watched about 30 minutes ago. 4 teams. A bunch of, or not 4 teams, teams of 4, a bunch of teams of 4 competing in challenges that look very similar to the Challenge daily challenges. All the hard version, or the kind of scary, more extreme sport side of the challenges. 16 of them as they travel across Canada trying to win a cash prize. So it's like Battle of the Seasons, teams of 4, the Challenge, with a dash of Road Rules or Amazing Race added in. It looks good. It looks really good. And I'm going to watch the show. And it means that, I'm going to go with Io here. I don't know that that's how you would shorten her name. But because we have some pop culture Ios, where I'm just going to say that until we know. And she definitely is, as a rookie goes, again, from the trailer, it looks like she has competed in a lot of things that look like daily challenges. And so there's at least a little bit of experience there in the teamwork. And I think there's a voting element. I don't know, but I'm interested to watch her show. I'm interested to see her in this show on our challenge. And then the next 2, America Lopez and Blue Kim, both from Big Brother 25. I have a little bit of knowledge of these 2 because while I don't watch Big Brother, I am very online as far as reality TV goes. And the Big Brother community is the most online of all the reality TV. And usually the last few seasons of Big Brother, you can pretty much follow along on X. Like, you know everything that's going on. And so I know these 2 don't like each other. I know that America was, I think, beloved at one point and then maybe not liked as much after the fact. But her and Corey were AmeriCorey, were showmance turned real off-screen romance. They're still together, the whole thing. And so I know these 2 have beef, don't like each other, and were kind of the stars of a season of Big Brother that I think, again, I don't actually know just what my the tweets I was seeing, seemingly not the best season, not the most beloved season, but some bright spots were these two women, and the fact that they don't like each other is great casting in my book. Let's take two people who made an impact on that show and didn't like each other and have a little history. Let's bring them in and put them on this. Good, good, good. And then we get to great. The one person that I will say unequivocally amazing casting, and I can't believe they got her, is Dee from Survivor 45, not just from Survivor 45, the winner of Survivor 45 only a year and a half ago, whatever that was. Unreal get for the challenge that they got someone. Again, they don't pay the rookies very much. You have to do multiple seasons to get paid more. We don't, I don't know the actual behind the scenes, but we've been told pretty clearly, they don't get paid a whole lot. And she won. I know you only get to keep half of that $1 million or whatever after taxes, but she won. And I am thrilled that they're bringing over a young athlete competitor who won Survivor and bringing her pretty immediately into the challenge, the flagship on MTV. That's incredible. She was not only a winner, she was like a fan favorite. Many people think she's the best winner and player of the modern era of Survivor for non-Survivor watchers. That is season 41 on. What we should kind of be embarking on here with the challenge. And so, yeah, to get her to that quickly into the MTV version is amazing. And I'm very, very excited. She is going to be a fantastic cast member and competitor. I'm very excited. This is the only one, because I watched the season and I'm in on Survivor. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is an A+ casting, and a really impressive that they got her to come do the show. Next, then there's Izzy Fairthorn, Too Hot to Handle 3 and Perfect Match. I believe both of those are Netflix dating shows. I watched the original Too Hot to Handle, have not watched a second of it since, but she's attractive. She's been on multiple messy Netflix dating shows. That sounds like a win to me. I think she'll probably be good. Jake Cornish is next. He was on Love Island UK and Love Island All Stars. I looked up Love Island All Stars because I was interested to see who I believe from the promos, Love Island All Stars, you go on with a former match of some sort, or you're partnered with a former match, maybe. I don't know. But I was just curious because we've had enough Love Island people in the challenge universe. I was like, was there a chance he was with someone we've seen before or anything like that? And I found out that he quit Love Island All Stars on day 3, which meant that he skipped 34 days of possibly hooking up with hot people on a beach, free alcohol, the whole thing. Seems like not something worth quitting. And I don't love that there's any quitting in his background. But his name is Jake. As a Jacob that's gone by Jake before, got to give him a shot, got to rep for the name. So still hopeful there. Next up, Justin Hinsley from Cheer season 2 on Netflix, the reality show documenting, I forget where the school or team or whatever, the cheer team, hence the name Cheer. I actually did watch a couple episodes of season 1 of Cheer, I believe. I think I did. Is there multiple documentary style reality shows about a cheer squad on Netflix? I doubt it, right? There's just the one big popular one, it's Cheer. I think I watched the first season or parts of the first season of it. Don't remember this guy who was on season 2, which I definitely didn't watch. Not a show I expected them to be pulling cast members from, but then I thought about it for like 3 seconds and I was like, cheerleaders are athletes with a flair for the dramatic. I assume maybe it's a bad stereotype. Maybe it's not. They love to gossip. So this all sounds good. This all sounds like a really good idea. So Justin is here and I think we'll be good. Next up is Sydney Segal from Survivor 41. And she was the last boot pre-merge or pre-jury, the last one not to make the jury on Survivor 41. And Survivor 41 for non-Survivor watchers, it's the one that gave us Danny McCrae. Shout out to Danny, Challenge USA winning Danny. And also gave us Shan, was from that season, was on Challenge USA 1. And I'm going to get it wrong, but I think was Chanel on season 41? I don't remember. Anyways, Sydney was on that season, and I can't believe we got someone else from that season before we got Xander, who's always, I've been saying for many years now. I just can't believe that guy wasn't immediately on the challenge. She's an attractive lawyer, or was a law student when she was on the challenge. I'm guessing is now like a lawyer, maybe. But she was very confident, a very confident woman in her gameplay and her abilities, and that confidence kind of cost her a little bit, overconfidence a bit on Survivor. So I think she's got everything we're asking for to be a really good character here on the challenge. Next up, Taylor Wilcoxon. She is from Big Brother Australia 15, and she is the co-winner of that season. And I thought Australia was better than us at this. I thought Australia was way better at the reality shows. They had perfected it. You all know my love for the Challenge Australia and that cast and everything that taught me. And everyone, talks about how great Survivor Australia is. There's the upcoming Survivor Australia versus the world or US or whatever. Very, very good stuff. But a co-winner? What the hell is a co-winner of Big Brother? How is there a co-winner in anything? And after I wrote that down as my main reaction to this Taylor woman, congrats on your co-win, I remembered, we just had a co-winner on the Challenge 40. We just did the co-winner thing that my immediate reaction was, co-winner, that's some bullshit. And it was like, oh, gross. Why did we do that? Why do we have co-winners? Jenny's the winner. Rachel had a great season. I love her. But Jenny was the winner. So yeah, we have a Big Brother winner in the house. Always good to have more winners brought into the game. Next, Will Gagnon. Are You the One 9? My only reaction here, other than he, looks like a handsome athletic guy. Great. They made a 9th season of Are You the One? Didn't know that. We had a lot of success the early days of bringing Are You the One folks in. Are You the One was very popular there for a while. Very great cast for a while. I did not realize that I didn't know there was a 7th, 8th season, let alone 9th, but there was. Will was on it, and let's hope he can bring back the story tradition of amazing Are You the One cast members. And then finally, there is Jeremy Heichel, Amazing Race 35. He's in his mid-20s. He looks good with his shirt off, and so I'm calling it a win. That's all I know about him, because he was on the Amazing Race with his brother, who is not here, and he's like 25 or 26, and he looks good with his shirt off, and that's good. We need more mid-20s, looks good in a bathing suit, people back on the challenge. So that's great. And then there's 4 more men yet to be named, or not. I assume there's 4 more men yet to be named. We have 8 female vets, 8 male vets, 8 female rookies. So far, only 4 male rookies. I assume there's 4 more to come. I don't know how we're going to divvy up what the teams are going to be. I guess we could do more mixed gender pairs, but only a few of them. I don't know. I assume there's 4 more men that we don't yet know, and probably still won't know even once they're named who they are until we actually see them on our screens for the Challenge 41. All right. I'll try to make these next 2 segments pretty quick, but clearly I didn't think they nailed it with the casting. So who would I have cast? You can't just say they didn't nail it without being willing to say, well, what would nailing it have looked like? And you may disagree with me, and that's fine. Comment below if you're a YouTuber. Text me, DM me if you want, if you're just an audio listener, and tell me who you would have called or what your overall strategy, maybe not a full exact list, but what your strategy would have been. Mine, as I said before, would have been to basically continue B-Fank and continue just going through what I kind of now also reference Survivor did of like, it was a little different with Survivor because they always have brand new casts, or for majority of their season, it's brand new cast, but saying it's a new era, it's a new thing. There's going to be some bumps in the roads. People aren't going to like it for a little bit, but it gives us a long-term outlook that we don't really have after their 40th season, when they were just like 41 on, brand new thing. This is what it is now. People might like it, might not, but it'll give us a long-term outlook that we maybe don't have right now if we just try to continue doing what we've been doing. And so in a similar vein, that's what I think the show should be doing right now for the challenge, is morph All-Stars back a little more into the super vets and the OGs, and morph the flagship back into, maybe it doesn't work out and maybe the show distinguishes and is completely gone by season 43 or 44. But give yourself a shot at season 50. Give yourself a shot at another decade or 2 of just this show never ending and really having long-term legs again, and finding a new way to bring in folks and have that you come in, and if you're good, if you're interesting, if there's a story to be told, you're getting 3 seasons, you maybe get up to 7 or 8. That's the max. Only a couple people are getting that 7-8 run. A lot of people are getting 3-4 seasons run. And that's what we're doing here. We're just developing these new groups, and every 5 to 6 seasons, it feels like the main characters have changed, transferred over, and we've had enough time to find the new group of main characters to put in there, and we find some sustainability. So that would be my goal. So you'll notice on who I would have called. I'm going to give you a full list here. I'm going to give you a full list of 10 women and 10 men. I would have went 20 vets if you would go with the younger vets that I'm going with here. And I'm also going to give you alternates because not these people would have all guaranteed said yes. And then I will run through the rookies I would have called, all from the world of Survivor, again, because I've been watching Survivor very closely now for their modern era, 41 on. And so I've got people from there that I think would have been great and have always been rooting for it to come into the challenge. So let's start with the females first. With all of that in mind, this is how I would have went for 10 women that I would have called and been like, these are the exact 10 that I want. This is my fantasy cast for what 41 would have been. Nerys, Olivia, Raven, Michelle, Michaela, Cassidy, Desi, Jenny, Ashley Mitchell, and Sylvia. Those 10. I would have had Ashley and Sylvia as my like vets. Vets. They've been around a while. They could kind of be the leaders in the house. I would have had them there as the only like longer term. I know Sylvia hasn't done a ton of seasons, but has been there since whatever season, Invasion or whichever, season 29, Ashley from Rivals 3, 28. So like those would be my couple super vets. I'd have Jenny as, the 2-time champion. I would have Desi and Cassidy and Michaela there as the Survivor Challenge USA, now on to Flagship. Desi as a champion, doing her now third season of Challenge. And yeah, I would have had those three as just really great Survivor portovers, Challenge USA portovers. And then Michelle is the current kind of female face, isn't right in that, like, it'd be her 6th or 7th season, right, where it's like you got 1 or 2 more as like the main person, and then you'll be out of here. And Raven, Olivia, and Nerys as 3 of those 4 or 5 young in challenge years. All of this, I don't know anyone's age. Young in challenge years, like new crop. That this is like season 3, where it's like, oh wait, now this is going to be their first like star season, and we get 2 or 3 seasons of these are the new stars. So again, Nerys, Olivia, Raven, Michelle, Michaela, Cassidy, Desi, Jenny, Ashley, Sylvia. That's how I would have broken it down. Alternates: Sarah. Again, if you couldn't get one of these, maybe if you couldn't get Desi, bring in Sarah, the other USA Survivor player. Kaz coming off, world championship win. I still think there's good there to have. She just did one of the, that wasn't Love Island, one of the All-Stars shows. Maybe it was Love Island. I don't remember. Amber B, if Ashley or Sylvia or Jenny wasn't there as like another champion in that kind of, one of the later eras. Mariah, if Nerys or Olivia or Raven couldn't be there. Alyssa Lopez in that Survivor, I know she was Big Brother, but in that Challenge USA over to Flagship. Esther or Priscilla from Spies, Lies, and Allies. Those would have been the types of people I'm calling. This cast would have mostly been made up of people on their 2nd, 3rd, or 4th season of the show, with a couple, a Michelle, Ashley, a Sylvia, doing their 6th, 7th, 8th, being the super vets of it. On the men's side, very similar style of list. I would have had Emmanuel, who I think is the only one I would say is like full-blown snub from it. Like, this is ridiculous. I know people maybe don't like him, maybe don't like his story, maybe hate that, Nerys wasn't also a winner on Battle for a New Champion. But you set up a whole season to crown one new champion, someone that's never won, and he won it. And he did have some compelling storylines, even if they were, that he cheated on his girlfriend with a bunch of different women in the house, and you chose to mostly not show most of that. He still won it, and then you didn't put him on Battle of the Eras, and now you're not putting him on 41 either. It feels silly. I would put Emmanuel on. I'd put Corey Lay. I'd put Jay. I'd put Horacio. I'd put Kyland. All 5 of them from B-Fang would come over and have some bad blood and some beef and things from that season, and interesting stories to continue. I'd have called Johnny Middlebrooks from Double Agents? No, not Double Agents. Excuse me. Ride or Dies, that he was on and then like didn't get called back. Nathan from Challenge UK and World Championships, where he had the COVID test and was out, and he's one of the greatest cast members ever that we need to give another shot. Chris would have been maybe my first call. Chris Underwood, Challenge USA 2 winner. dominating fashion, is just tailor-made for this show. And then Theo and Paulie would be my like vets in the same similar Ashley Sylvia mix of like bringing their story from season 40 and from War of the Worlds era. And, they're the super vets. Alternates, I would have called Danny and Tyson. They both would say no. Tyson especially is going to say no. But I would have, instead of throwing whatever bag you got to throw at Anissa, CT, and Bananas these days, I would be like, Tyson, name a price? Like, you say there's no price. What would the price be? What if we paid you $1 million? Would you do it? You can't, NDA, no one could know what we paid you. You could just say they paid me a bunch. It was worth it. I was willing to do it. Would he do it? Danny, Tyson, they're not going to come. Devin and Fessy could be in that Theo and Paulie spot. But I would have really wanted this season to be completely free from Vacation Alliance or Big Brother Alliance as best as possible. But if you had to, as you're like, these are our super vet kind of guys, Devin and Fessy, Ed, Callum, Kieran, Grant, anyone from Australia or UK, really. Those would have been my alternates. Those would have been my picks for the vet side. On the rookie side, again, I can only speak to Survivor folks that I think should have gotten a call for the challenge. Whether they did or didn't, I don't know. But going in reverse order, and again, I'm sure there's so many reality shows out there. I'm sure there's amazing people all over the place. I'm sure there's good Big Brother folks too. I only know the Survivor, so it's the only ones I'm going to speak to. Working backwards from season 47 that we just watched, Sam and Sierra both should have been called. That would be great. From season 46, Q, Venus, and Hunter, all three would be great. Season 45, where we did get D from the winner, again, amazing. By the number one, it's a tie. Number one rookie casting for sure. And kind of a tie with Michaela and Rogan and D are the three most excited for on this season. But also from her season, Austin, her semi-showmance that she semi-betrayed in the eventual win, Kelly or Caleb. All three of them. Kelly is the co-host with Michelle of the new podcast on the Rap Network. All three of them would have been great. From 44, Sammy or Noelle would have been amazing. 43, Jonathan, Hai, or Tori. Jonathan especially is just an absolute physical specimen that was a challenge freak on Survivor that I just cannot believe. I cannot believe that they did not drag him onto a challenge set immediately, let alone all these seasons later. And then Xander from 41 that I already referenced earlier. So those Survivor folks I would have maybe called as rookies. Again, though, I don't know if any of these rookies are going to be good, bad, because I barely know none of them. The couple that I know something about, I really like the picks. I think are good picks. And D is a fantastic pick. That's my fantasy cast would have been, though. I would have went Nerys, Olivia, Raven, Michelle, Michaela, Cassidy, Desi, Jenny, Ashley, Sylvia, Emmanuel, Corey, Jay, Horacio, Kylan, Johnny Middlebrooks, Nathan from UK, Chris Underwood, Theo, Paulie, with a smattering of Survivor players in the rookie pool. And I think we would have had an incredible season. That's not to say what we're going to get, what we are having, what is underway filming right now is not going to be really good, and I'm not excited for. That is just what my perfect world, if I was the casting director, that's who I would have called in what order. Now, finally, to wrap this up, let's quickly discuss the location and the possible formats. The location first, they're in Chile. We have only been to Chile once before in challenge history, which in my head, we had been there a couple of times, but it's because we've been to Argentina like 4 or 5 times for either a full season or for a final. We've only been to Chile once, and it was only for the final of Free Agents. That mountain they climbed was in Pucón, Chile. Don't know how you pronounce it necessarily, but a mountain in Chile. So we've only been there once. I'm going to guess, although I don't think we know, I'm going to guess they're in Santiago, one major city. And this will be somewhat similar to what they've done with All-Stars 5 and Challenge 40 of like, we're based out of the city in Vietnam, but we're going to travel quite a bit. We're going to use all the terrain. We're going to get to the ocean, the whole thing. If they're in Santiago, like they can get to the ocean, they can get to the mountains. They're long drives, but nothing that they haven't done before. And so, that'll be interesting. I think it's a good choice. And mainly it's a good choice because right now, looked up the weather and it's 85 to 90 degrees every day in Chile. And so that's great. hot weather, warm weather season. It's cool in the nights. Again, they can get to mountains, they can get to oceans, everything you could ask for. We're getting a hot weather season with all possible terrains, city, rural, mountains, oceans. I'm guessing if they, if they want to go all the way south to the Patagonia region, they can truly get every type of layout terrain that you could ever want. But thrilled with the location. Think it's going to be great. As for the format, so we kind of said at the very beginning, there's assuming there is the still 4 rookie men to be said, there is going to be 16 and 16 vets to rookies. We've seen equal vets and rookies a handful of times before in challenge history. We've seen it most recently, I guess technically most recently, we saw it on Spies, Lies, and Allies. Spies, Lies, and Allies, or Ride or Dies. No, because Ride or Dies wasn't all. There was a lot of rookies, but not all rookies. So Spies, Lies, and Allies, we saw it. We saw it on War of the Worlds 1. We saw it obviously way back on Fresh Meat 1 and 2 was the original version of this. We saw it kind of on the Gauntlet 3, but the rookies, it was insane with the Ruins, with challengers. It was like the Ruins was like champs versus challengers, but it was also kind of vets versus you've done 1 or 2 seasons, with a few exceptions. Gauntlet 3 was rookies versus vets, but rookies meant you could be on your first or second season. But we've seen this a lot, essentially. And overall, I do like the half and half. I do like this is an injection of new blood. So don't get me wrong. We get 32 people, and, I can complain as much as I want about the 3 folks that have done 20 plus seasons, but we are getting, 16 rookies. That's a good thing. That is a nice influx of new potential talent, new potential cast members. But how they do it, what format they go with of those possible templates of the past is very crucial. Best case scenario, I think, is essentially War of the Worlds or Fresh Meat style, meaning there is a draft, whether that is just a straight up, whether there's a combine, like true old school Fresh Meat style, whether that means there is an opening challenge for one side or the other to do, to then get to pick your partners based off that and do the draft off of that. I guess we had that on World Championships as well. Regardless, if there is a draft of some sort that leads to male, female teams of a vet and a rookie, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. That is the best case scenario, I think, given this cast and this makeup of the cast, is to do that, draft for pairs, and stay in those pairs the whole time. If there is an algorithm involved, if there is the elimination winner can switch teams or partners involved, if this is anything more like Challenge USA or Spies, Lies, and Allies or Double Agents, then we're going to have problems. And we're going to have big, big problems, okay? We don't want that. It didn't work. It wasn't good. It didn't bring anything positive to the show. It only took away basically any chance at anything really, really good happening. We're seeing some version of on All Stars 5 what it is good to just have partners that you're going to be together and the format is known and we're sticking to it, leads to, if the whole show is going to be about the nominations and the politics, the strategy, then at least give us the best chance of that being really interesting and not totally convoluted and kind of silly. And each week doesn't matter because next week it just might be brand new teams or anything of that nature. Also, male female pairs, please. We've seen on multiple recent seasons, the best thing we can do is male female pairs, because everyone is then competing for every daily challenge. There's no one not on the chopping block on any given day. Everyone's available to go in. Everyone's in the same game. No one feels like anything's fair or unfair because of how the teams are made up, or that who is getting called out or called in is anything. We don't got to get into any of that. Okay. We just balanced male female teams. That's what we're looking for. Top 3 teams form a tribunal, like War of the Worlds style of, we're not just letting one team pick and vote. But we're not doing what we're seeing on All Stars 5, where as excited as I am for the whole house to vote, the no last place goes in is having its drag, its negative aspect to the season. So if we get a last places in, top 3 teams make a tribunal that pick together, a 6-person vote is interesting enough and has enough variance in, embedded in it. So that's what I'm looking for. Some sort of draft, vet rookie teams, male, female. You're with them the whole season. There's no getting out. Maybe right at the end they switch to an individual. That would be fine. But that's what I'm looking for. That's, I think, the best. I think it could be interesting if we got like a Gauntlet 4, Ruins 2 type scenario where it was vets versus rookies, two big teams for like a majority of the season. If they stuck with it for a majority of the season and then eventually dropped it to individual near the end or 2/3 of the way through, the vets would be heavy favorites. Yes, but this isn't like some murderer's row vets team the way like on the Ruins. Again, it was champs versus challengers. It was a little different, but like it was like, okay, one team's like way, like they're really good. Like, look at that team. They're really good. They're gonna have to purposely get rid of people to be able to get rid of anyone here. The Gauntlet 4 was also, or Gauntlet 3 was a little lopsided. This would be a little lopsided, but maybe there's a way to even it out. I'm not sure, but I could be interested in that in two big teams. What I don't want, I kind of said before, but I don't want pure free agents. I don't want this purely an individual game. I think that's not going to work. It's just going to be all the vets kind of getting together, even if they don't all like each other. I don't think we need to go down that road for the however many time. And I don't think we need to do the double agent spies, lies, allies. Like, we're in 3 teams. Now we're in pairs. Anytime you win an elimination, you can switch. And now we're doing this. And now we're doing that. And now this is this twist. None of that. We need a simple format. It's working really well in All-Stars 5. If we get the last place back in, we get to a real sweet spot where the best case scenario are in play. So that's what I'm looking for and hoping for on the format side. I think the location's good. And those are my full thoughts on the actual cast and who I would have cast, which there was overlap there. And overall, I'm just excited that, we won't have to wait too long. I think this is going to be the exact right amount of break. Once All-Stars 5's done, I'm guessing we'll have like a 2 to 3 month break without any challenge, which is okay. It's okay. And then we'll come back in the fall with Challenge 41 and maybe be filming a All-Star 6 or USA 3 or 42, something like that then. So this has been fun. This has been great. Now we will get back tomorrow night and beyond to your regularly scheduled All-Stars 5 recaps. Thanks as always for joining. Let me know what you think, who you would have casted, who you liked or don't like that they did cast, and overall your thoughts. Just remember, spoiler free. Don't tell me any spoilers. Don't leave any spoiler comments, anything like that. They will be deleted, and I will be really, really sad that I now know them. Thanks as always for tuning in. I will talk to you soon. Peace.